Now I'm sure you've seen my video about the future of void purges and how I'm said that it isn't looking good. Now in this video I'm going to talk about a lot of the comments and it's going to be a pretty in-depth discussion, so buckle up, get ready, grab your popcorn, drop a like on this video and let's get right on into it. So starting off, I do want to talk about purges, especially when solo. From this comment you can see that the difficulty level is perfect for team play, however it is absolutely unfair to solo players. Now I actually 100% agree with this comment. Also, people over at Nexon, I know you are watching my videos. Hello, I hope you are having a great day. But this comment is absolutely right. Purges, especially 28 and onwards, require a team and you can't run it without a team. Running it solo or duo or trio is 100% possible, but number one, you're going to have the most fun in a squad, and playing Purge anything higher than 20, even 27 solo, it's just not fun and the difficulty spike is too much. Now there is not an actual problem with everything else, it's the fact that the solo balance doesn't really exist. I think that because there is a lot of enemies and a lot of them are able to take a lot of hits, you have to build for several different things at once. For example, in a squad, you can run with a Enzo, Haley, Glay and Lepic. Now, each Descendant will do its own thing. However, in solo, you are just one Descendant and there is no striking balance between that, and it does make it criminally unfair, especially in solo mode. So Nexon, please do fix that. So that is my first major gripe with this. Now the next comment says that a lot of players like himself do not have friends to play with and public queue is 100% a waste of time. Now I'm going to straight up say it, Nexon, it's not what you want to hear, but the public queue system absolutely sucks. You don't know who you are getting matched with, and I understand that it's public and it shouldn't matter as much, but this is Purge and this is the highest level content in the game. You can't be running in with people you don't know or have zero strat or anything to do with. Now the way I would suggest to fix this is add a search system. Now what I mean by that is you can choose which Descendant you go as, and you are able to look for or ask for other people with a specific Descendant. For example, if I was in Purge 21 and I was playing Luna, I could write in the search bar or just have looking for Ines in the search bar, and then I get matched up with Ineses, and then it is simple as that. We can run the game and enjoy ourselves, or give us a little countdown in a lobby and allow us to talk to the people, and we could take it from there. That is a simple system which I think would be absolutely amazing and would genuinely change the way people play Purges and delete a lot of the negative feedback. If people could find people to play with, that would also eliminate a lot of the problems that a lot of people are having. As of right now, it is the 10th of February, so Purges have been out for a hot minute. And even with that, players are still looking for other players, but I think that this is a more simplified and effective way to search for other players. The gameplay you are seeing on screen is from day 1 of the Purge, so literally day 0, like a few hours after the Purge came out. So this is the setup we are running, which is a Lepic, Ines, Viesa, Luna. So take that onto board because we are running Purge 26 in this gameplay on screen. Now the next comment is a little bit of a longer one, so this is what it says. I wouldn't mind the challenge if I wasn't having to completely drop my existing Descendants and my build, stop the new content completely and farm dozens of Catalyst blueprints, wait 2 full weeks to build them, then level over and over again for hours to put together a setup specifically designed for one particular piece of content. Juice ain't worth the squeeze. I kill Colossi faster than a single effing elite here in Purge 26. Now I'm going to disagree with this comment, however I'm also going to agree with it at the same time. Now if you have been here and playing, for a gradual while, you will have seen the change between skill-based fights and gun-based fights. Now what I mean by that is skill-based fights is stuff like the dungeons that you normally run, the infiltrations and the 400%. They specialize in using Descendant abilities such as Freyna's third ability or first ability, Bunny's third ability, Anace's fourth and first ability as an example. And then gun-based fights which are like the Colossi fights. Now I don't think that people are giving Nexon enough credit here. They specifically made Glut Gluttony and the Deathstalker with resistances, specifically to encourage players to build their weapons up a little bit more and be slightly more prepared for the Purge. Now, I'm sure everyone has had to put catalysts into their weapons. I have too. I've invested in like 6 different weapons I didn't even know existed, such as the Albion Cavalry gun, and I wasn't a massive user of the Smithereens, but now I am. So I do have experience with investing and stuff in newer weapons, so I do know what you mean. But the issue here is that Nexon are 100% are in the right specializing this content. Now, from the gameplay here, you can see even in Purge 26 on screen right now, you are able to beat this Purge in a squad using skill-based abilities. Now, gun-based is perfectly fine. You can fly through every Purge with guns, and you can also not fly through every Purge with abilities. Now, the good thing about this is that number 1, it will make you invest in your weapons, and number 2, this isn't something we've not seen before. Colossi fights like Deathstalker and Gluttony primarily rely on our guns. This, however, is a slight different change of pace. What I think a lot of players are struggling to accept is that it is completely okay to not be able to beat the highest level of Purge without a specific setup. Now, this is the highest level of content in the game as of right now, so it is okay if you can't beat it without investing in Enzo, Haley, or Glay, or Lepic. I do think that is perfectly fine. Like I said, this is endgame content. You're not going to be able to cakewalk it, and if you are, then there is issues, because this is meant to be the pinnacle of the game, is in terms of difficulty, in terms of everything, and I think it has nailed that on the head. It is perfect to absolutely challenge players. Whether you love it or whether you hate it, you have to admit it has its difficulty. Even if the enemies are bullet sponges, is what the community is referring to them as, it is still difficult. Even if you don't like bullet sponges, the difficulty is there. You cannot deny this fact. Now, you also said that this is all just for one specific piece of content. Now, of course, yeah, you are right about that, but Purge is so much more than that. It is evolving a lot. We started off with 20, we are now at 30, and in the next season, season 3, we're gonna have 50, potentially even 80. And what I think about this is that a lot of people are not thinking ahead. Now, we are struggling with Purge 30 with the builds that we have to some extent. If you run the right build, you can do it in like 5 minutes, is what I've seen on the leaderboard right now, which is kind of crazy. But what I think that this is going to lead to is essentially a Descendants buff. I feel like Nexon in the future will buff every single Descendant to keep up. That means Bunny will get a buff, Freyna, Ines, Enzo, Lepic, Haley, Esimo, Glay, every Descendant in the game will eventually get a buff to keep up with this content, or alternatively they might add the cores in for Descendants as they have for the weapons, which I think would be kind of cool, but I just think a simple buff would be better, but that is just my personal opinion. For the next comment, we've got this. So here's a couple of things you need to figure out with your get good mentality. They buff guns. The point of weapon cores were to bring guns on par with abilities, and that's not what they did. Up till Purge 20, they made the abilities reign, and from 21 to 30, they made it all about the guns. The problem is that I spent 20 cats to make the abilities perfect, and I spent money in the game, and they fluffed that off. I enjoy Inez, Freyna, and Bunny, though I understand this content is only for Enzo, Glay, Luna, and Haley. You just isolated and invalidated 75% of your player base within 3 weeks. 50 are Bunny and Freyna and Ines mains, and 20 are Enzo and Glay, and 5% that play everything else. That's why they are nerfing it, because they straight ass lied. They are trying to avoid being sued due to selling Ines, and less than 3 weeks later, the content she was created for, she's useless in. With zero abilities to make her any stronger, that was their bad, not the player base. Now, there's plenty to unpack here. Now, you said up to Purge 20 it was all about abilities, which I do agree with. From 21 to 30 being all about guns is something I do not agree with. If you are a person who strategizes a lot in this game, you will know that especially on the first day of these Purges releasing from 21 to 30, people were able to get up to Purge 29 with using 1 Luna and 3 Inaces. So, saying it's all about guns would be incorrect. Now you can absolutely use abilities on these later level purges, just you have to coordinate and you have to know what you are doing with good builds, strategies, or synergies that work well with each other, like Luna and Ines, or Luna with any skill based Descendant for that matter. Now I understand he said that you isolated and invalidated 75% of your player base within 3 weeks. Half of them are Bunny, Freyna and Ines. Now they are not invalidated in my opinion. You can still absolutely run them, you just have to have a proper build backed up with a proper reactor and proper components able to keep up. There is no one Descendant that is best at everything, whether that be Freyna, Ines or Bunny. Every Descendant has their own specialty, and I feel like that is something that is heavily coming into fruition and becoming very visible over here. Now you do get amazing moments in this mode where you pull in and you clutch it, and I'm going to show you my reaction over here. 10 seconds left. 9, 8, 7. Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! Viessa! My fucking queen! Let's go! Oh man! That was close! Now I want you to keep a close eye on the leaderboards I'm going to show you from this recording. Now you can see that there are 2 Ineses, a Haley and a Lepic being the top spot on stage 29. Now Ines does not have any abilities to buff weapons properly, so it's safe to assume that yes, abilities are technically viable if you use a Lepic. This means that Ines is still a valid option technically. Technically, however, does not mean indefinitely. Now, on a technicality, you are able to use abilities if done right, like within this instance, they were using a Lepic to group and then an Ines for DPS, I would assume. Now, that still means abilities are viable. Just because they're viable does not mean they are optimal. There is a reason that running and gunning is better, just because the amount of sheer buffs that weapons have received makes them more viable as an option versus using an ability, and that is essentially the fact. Spraying with 4 players with guns is going to do more damage than 1 player or 2 players with an ability that all specialize in different things and different elements. Now, if you are watching Nexon, I just want to say that you are 100% heading in the right direction with these purges, and do not let the community tell you otherwise. There is obviously some kinks that we need to work out, but ultimately the comments like this that say purges give me hell, but I agree with you. It's the first time I wanted to optimize my setup and try different things until I beat it, and just because it's difficult, there's no need to nerf it. We want something more difficult, and now the players that even wanted it are complaining, and it's sad. Now, this is just example of, you know, many comments I've gotten on that video as well. People do want difficult content, but the thing is, a lot of players, I think in this specific instance, are upset that it is difficult for a different reason. The main reason being that a lot of players have not invested in the Descendants or the weapons that we need. Now, I don't think that this is a problem because, as I said, players that have been growing on this game over time will know that when it came to Gluttony or Deathstalker, people began to invest in Enzo for that. They began to invest in Haley. OG players who used to boss back in the days will have invested in Lepic. So I don't think there's too much of a cut-off. I just think that people aren't thrilled about having to use different weapons. Now, in Purge 28, 29 and 30 specifically, players have to run a almost pin perfect setup and have a good run, and essentially it does feel a little bit like luck and RNG. But I just wanted to say that this is fine because, like I said, it is the absolute highest tier of content, and again, it is okay if you can't do it. So I think that this is fine for now until the higher level purges come out. Then as I think that all the Descendants are going to get buffed, you know, I've said this in the video before. On to the next comment. Instead, I'm going to go over 2 comments real quick. Number 1 is that it's a skill gap, and honestly, you're so real for this comment. I really do appreciate it because you are actually right. It is a skill gap. Next up is that I've wasted thousands on this game. I don't know whether he means thousands of hours or thousands of pounds, but I'm going to assume thousands of hours on this game, and it's dying because people like yourself, nobody cares about what you think, and all this try-hard garbage is going to kill the casuals, which there are more than you. This is not a content update, which is why people aren't returning. There's nothing new to bring to the table. Purge is a death trap to the game, and once again, you do not speak to me. I don't care what you think of people like me. We have lives and don't want to live in a video game. Talk about touching grass or a woman. First of all, I'll have you know I've touched plenty of grass, and second of all, touching a woman is so not halal. Second of all, as you can see from the leaderboards, that if you have a look at today, people are rinsing down these times fast. There is a massive player base for people who are arguing and fighting for spots on the leaderboard. Now, there are more casuals than hardcore players. Yeah, I agree. That's how it is with literally every single game. And this gameplay update, is not a content update, which is why people are not returning, is what you said. Now, I feel like you are a little bit wrong with that. Even just within my own subscriber base and people who have been joining my streams as I've been providing help for people and all that sort of stuff with these purges, I've had plenty of subs return and ask me, is this build viable? I'm coming back to the game. The update looks good. It's a little bit back and forth. So people are definitely coming back. Maybe not into the millions of people coming back range, but there are people coming back. So, I think you are slightly wrong about that. Now, I don't speak for you and I don't care what you think of me. Okay, I'm very sorry. Please do not hurt me. I'm just a student. Please leave me alone. I am so sorry. And the fact that you said you have a life. I do too, man. I'm literally just a 22-year-old student who plays this game in my spare time. Now, I am also a part of that 1% percentile of players who have put literally X cores in almost every weapon, cored every single weapon, invested in almost every single Descendant, have nothing but tons of God reactors, highly invested content, everything left, right and center, almost every single set from every single boss in almost godly stats, so I'm able to mix and match any set. I've done all of the farming and all of the stuff in my spare time just as leisure because I enjoy playing this game. And when an update like this comes, I'm so prepared for it. It's not even funny anymore. Now, I'm not saying that is all of the player base, but the thing is, I think people, again, do not think ahead. And I think that this is just a comment that was just made in the heat of the moment, because you were not enjoying the content and you've not taken the time to breathe. I think that a lot of people, give it like 2 or 3 weeks, are going to be significantly more chilled out about Purge, because they will have had the time to sink in, download what the content is, and understand it, and basically level and learn, and have the correct build for it, and they will get their successful runs that they are destined to get one way or another. And I feel like people are going to start enjoying this a lot more. As for the future of purges, again, we're using the buzzwords here, I think that it is going to be more difficult, and I want it to be more difficult. As I said, highest level content in the game, give me a challenge or break my mentality at the bare least. Now I'm going to hit you with some kind comments and the trifecta. So, your voice in particular needs to be heard by the devs. You are saying exactly what they need to hear. Spider, thank you so much for that comment. It's very kind and I really appreciate it. Followed up by my boy Gary, leaving a heart. I appreciate all the support. And last but not least, my absolute favourite comment of this series, and that is, fuck this game. Now, for the conclusion of this video, I just want to make a few final points. Solo definitely needs to be nerfed. It's too difficult to do it on your own, and I think that is basically the only thing that needs to change. Group play is absolutely perfect as it is. People will, over time, get the builds, invest in the weapons that they need, and they will start enjoying the multiplayer content. Please do add some sort of a search system. World chat is good, but we need an actual dedicated system, and I think that would also make it a little bit better. Other than that, Descendants, please buff every single one of them. We've got more purges coming in the future, so I'm pretty sure you're going to buff them anyways. I hope you are. Please buff Bunny. I want to be able to use Bunny for everything. I'm joking. Bunny, Inez, and Freyna are part of the one brain cell trifecta, so the fact that you can't rely on them in the purge anymore, I think is a hella nice touch. But once the community does calm down and they do invest in whatever it is that they need for the purges, I feel like they're going to enjoy it a lot more. So yeah, that's ultimately my takeaway of this video, and I hope you have enjoyed. Please do let me know what you think in the comments. This was definitely a long one, but I feel like we've covered some good grounds, and if you disagree with any points or anything of the sorts, please let me know in the comment section below, because like I said, this has been 20 minutes almost of plenty of information and opinions, and I do think that this has essentially covered almost all aspects of the purge and what I think should happen for the future of this game. So that's basically been this video, and I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, please do subscribe and smash that like button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.